Over 2 years ago, I made a theory on Glamrock Foxy, and let me tell you something now, I don't believe that theory to be, well, 100% correct. You see, what if the key to unlocking Security Breach's biggest mystery has been hidden in plain sight all along, disguised as a familiar face? And I'm not talking about Glamrock Freddy, or even Robot Gregory, such a controversial subject from MatPat, but a character whose elusive presence has always been a puzzle, and that's Glamrock Foxy. Now prepare to have your mind blown on this one, because we're going to be uncovering a shocking connection you never even saw coming. You see, uncovering the truth on Glamrock Foxy and finding out where he is totally changes the timeline of FNAF. I mean, it connects even the Scott Cawthon era to the Security Breach era of Steelworld perfectly. And it was in the game, but it's been missed for so many years, by myself included. Now, I know many of you think Foxy just simply didn't exist in the Pizzaplex or transitioned into Roxy. I mean, they even share the same name, Foxy, Roxy, but that isn't the case. We know they're separate characters and have been from the very beginning, from their initial conception design, pre-1979, because Secret of the Mimic shows us that Foxy was its own character, a puppet, and so was Roxy. Roxy was actually featured as a cardboard cutout in Secret of the Mimic, and she was in her cowboy form. And let's not forget, just beneath that, as we see in Ruin, was Foxy's entire area, because Foxy also had a Wild West form. But I'm getting ahead of myself, I'll get into that later. You see, we first see Roxy and Foxy in Secret of the Mimic pre-1979, and they are shown even back then as their own entities. Foxy didn't transition or become Roxy, they were always separate. And the Pizzaplex also confirms this with the Foxy's Kid Cove area. I mean, if he had transitioned or changed into Roxy, they wouldn't have had them initial areas, right? Roxy was always part of the Pizzaplex from the start, so was Foxy. So if that was the case, where has he gone? I mean, they had an entire area, like I said earlier, Kids Cove dedicated to him, loads of merchandise. He couldn't have just simply poofed from existence, right? We're missing something here, and I think I found out what it is. Let's fast forward a little bit to Ruin, and let's look at that area I spoke about earlier, Roxy Raceway. Now, underneath there was an entire area dedicated to Foxy, but it was still under construction. This is where we see the Foxy log flume ride, which Cassie talks about going on but was never open to the public. The key thing here is this was never open to the public. This area was never displayed to the public. The only area which the public had access to was Foxy's Kid Cove. And a massive point to note here, at not one point do we see Foxy depicted as part of the original band. And that's been the case throughout FNAF history, let's not forget. Foxy's always lived and resided in his own little stage area, Fox's Cove. He's never been part of the main stage, the main gang. He's always had his little stage. So if they were continuing that tradition into Security Breach, he wouldn't be part of the main band, right? And this is where things get interesting, because sure, they might not have featured him in the main band, but that doesn't mean he wouldn't be around. They've got this entire area to him. They were going to have a huge log flume area to him. So where is he? Has he just up and left? I mean, if they designed an entire animatronic after him, surely he'd be able to. And then I started drawing little connections, started looking at more and more details as time went on. And then I started searching, looking for hints to see if Foxy was around. And then certain things started to hit me. As I was looking around Ruin, I looked at the graffiti on the wall and came across this. It's a hook, right? And who do we know as an animatronic has a hook? That's right, Foxy. So I thought that was odd that someone was graffitiing Foxy. Now, obviously, it could be a reference to the old times past, which would be several decades in the future from the old FNAF pizzerias, or could be a reference to, obviously, the drawings / designs they saw in the Pizzaplex, but I thought that was odd. But if you examine it even closer, there's writing next to the graffiti, and a name, Mike. And then my entire world came crumbling down. Mike, the original Foxy mask. Mike, the crying child's brother. We actually see Mike wearing the Foxy mask in the FNAF 4 minigame. It's his favourite animatronic. And I thought, there's no way it couldn't be, right? So I started to dig even deeper. Now, I'm no stranger to Mike still being alive in Security Breach and Ruin. I've done theories on that in the past, but I haven't really linked it to Foxy. And then I started thinking of all the evidence that Mike is still alive. Obviously, we have Mike's one-to-one replica room in the Security Breach Pizzaplex, which seems extremely odd. We have the reference at the end of Ruin where Gregory is talking about his friend who knows all the plans, and someone who says follow someone's direction.
My friend has access to the building map. Just follow instructions.
Whatever Gregory says right there, it's only one syllable, so it could only be follow his or follow Mike's. direction. And if you need even more proof that Mike is still around, you've only got to look at his room, which I mentioned a minute ago. You just got to look at the popcorn and exotic butters. If they'd been there since sister location, that could potentially be several decades, wouldn't they be rotten? No, they are fresh. Someone is still living out of that room. But if Mike was still alive, wouldn't he be an old man now? Well, not necessarily. Look at what happens to him at the end of sister location. He was scooped and injected with remnant. If he was alive, he's likely still in a zombified state. Potentially not even an old man, just a purple guy. Zombie. So okay, we've kind of established that Mike can still be alive. But how would then this link up to Foxy? All we've got to go on is that Foxy was missing and that Foxy was Mike's favorite character. But look deeper. Look in Mike's room. He's writing something on the wall, some type of code. And it's evident from past games that Mike have always had a fascination with messing with the animatronics, tampering with them in some way. Hence why he was always fired for tampering with the animatronics or body odor. Either way, Mike has always messed with the animatronics, which I will come back to in a second because there's other things I'd like to talk about before we get into that. You see, as I was exploring around the Pizzaplex, I started to notice the cardboard cutouts. One of them specifically, Ennard. There's only one person in the entire franchise who would have seen Ennard and been able to accurately depict him back to anybody. That is Mike. He's the only one who'd have ever saw Ennard in that form, the one we see in the cardboard cutout. Now I know this cardboard cutout and a few other cardboard cutouts could be referenced to the fact that Fazbear Entertainment made light of all the horrific stories and tragedies which took place over the years. Let's not forget FNAF VR, Help Wanted, where they basically are trying to turn the legends into a game and as if they never happened. But even if they did do that, someone would still have to tell them how Ennard looked, right? Surely. You could say security camera footage, but the security camera footage would have came from sister location bunker. And at the time, Afton wasn't part of Fazbear Entertainment when that was going on. It was a completely different company. The only one who would have been able to accurately recreate that drawing would have been Michael himself. But why would Michael recreate this cardboard cutout and give it to Fazbear? Well, we know throughout history that Michael has a history of working for Fazbear Entertainment from the inside, trying to bring them down. And this is where things start to come full circle here. Fast forward to Security Breach once more. Michael has already started to work for Fazbear Entertainment from the inside because he wants to bring his father's company down. And let's not forget, Glitch Trap at this point is still around, and Burn Trap if you believe he exists. Michael could still think, my father isn't dead yet, I still need to bring him down. So he messes and tampers with the animatronics again, but this time they're far more advanced, the Glamrocks. Before they open, he messes with Foxy. Picture this, rather than a Glamrock Freddy helping Gregory, picture a Glamrock Foxy helping Michael carry out his tasks from below his secret room. I absolutely love the idea that Glamrock Foxy has turned back good once again. Back into the era of 2010, where there was that theory going around where Foxy was the good guy. But there's a spanner here in the works. Here's the thing, if Mike did infiltrate the Fazbear Entertainment enterprise from the inside, reprogrammed a Glamrock Foxy animatronic to help him, wouldn't Fazbear Entertainment just simply use another Endo and replace the Foxy animatronic? I mean, that's what I would do. But then you could argue against that and say, why didn't they do the same with Glamrock Bonnie? Sure, whoever killed Glamrock Bonnie took Bonnie out of order, but they could have simply just replaced him with another Endo. They didn't. They decided to completely try and erase him and replace him with Monty in the band, which was arguably more difficult. Here, if Foxy just simply went missing and they thought, do you know what, this is Fazbear Entertainment, we can't be bothered to retrain all these Endos, we've got our main band, let's just leave him gone, forgotten. And that's probably what they did. I believe there's irrefutable evidence to say that Foxy did exist in the Pizzaplex at some place. They planned all this entire area beneath Roxy Raceway for him. They didn't finish construction for whatever reason because Mike got a hold of that animatronic, changed it, and then used Foxy potentially to start carrying out espionage missions in the Pizzaplex. I mean, in some of the books, it's hinted at that one of the original daycare attendants, not Sun or Moon, had to be removed and replaced extremely quickly because of an accident or incident. Foxy was always a bit twitchy, but perhaps it was because Glamrock Foxy simply went missing. That was the incident. Or the simple explanation is he just never existed in the Pizzaplex, which is a bit of a cop-out and a sad end to a beloved character. I personally love the idea that he is helping Mike somehow, just like Glamrock Freddy is helping Gregory, or was helping Gregory. Really coming full circle on the Foxy good guy. Although it is unlikely, but it's still fun to theorize and talk about nonetheless. Mike is obviously still alive in my eyes, choice. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, even give it a hype if you can, and subscribe for plenty more FNAF content upcoming on the channel. Massive thanks to the Fazbear Entertainment employees who are on screen now: Lauren, Rena Fox, Amit Ginny Tapia, and our Twisted Fazbear CEOs Rock Nigel, Bubsylicious, and Penguin Level 12. Thanks for being a valued member of the Fazbear team. I'm the iconic Twisted Animatronic, and stay safe out there, superstars.